Okay, good morning, guys. Welcome to this event. So we are going to start with a topic which is making a lot of buzz across the world, big data and artificial intelligence. Even though it is making a lot of buzz, I don't think many organizations know how to do it right. In fact, there is a very famous quote by Professor Dan Ariely. He once said that big data is like a teenage sex, right? Everybody is interested, but nobody knows how to do it right. So, that is true in many cases, because if you look at large number of analytics projects, right, they're all called moonshot projects. You start with very ambitious, deliverables, and then you realize that it can't be done. So in fact, in a recent Harvard Business Review article, Thomas Davenport talks about one specific project which is trying to predict cancer and then appropriate treatment for cancer. And after spending $62 million, they realized that it can't be done, right? So what I'm trying to say is, when you use big data and artificial intelligence, you have to be very careful before you actually venture into it, and you have to select right projects, right? As I said, everybody is today talking about artificial intelligence, including Rahul Gandhi, right? But the thing is, do we know what it is? Okay? But everybody believes that the next economic supremacy is going to come through artificial intelligence, right? Professor Andrew Ng, he basically says that artificial intelligence is the next electricity. Recently, China invested more than $2 billion to start AI Tech Park, right? And in the recent budget, our finance minister Arun Jaitley was talking about how they are going to support, the government is going to support a lot of AI initiatives. So it is a very, very important theme, and if you believe that it's going to, I don't know how far it is true that it is going to provide the next economic supremacy, but there's a lot of interest and large number of interesting projects are being carried out using AI, and a lot of automation is happening, irrespective of whatever domain we are talking about. So we are going to start with two sessions, basically two talks. We have two speakers from industry. The first one is Sriram Krishnan, and the second is Prakash Palaniswamy. So I'm going to invite Sriram Krishnan. He is going to talk how they are using in their organization AI. Sriram is Director Services Insights at Microsoft Digital. He is technology and analytics professional with over 21 years of experience. In his role, he established the advanced analytics COE across three functions: decision sciences, data sciences, and data management, to deliver reliable analytical services and actionable insights. Prior to Microsoft, Sairam Krishnan was with Cisco. So with that brief introduction, I would like to invite Sairam. So he is going to give his first, basically, talk for about 15-20 minutes. Then I will invite the next speaker.
Good morning. My name is Sairam Krishnan. I'm from Microsoft. I'm based in Hyderabad. Thank you for the warm welcome and the quick introduction. Appreciate that. I'm extremely pleased to be here again as part of Drishti. I understand that today it's the 20th year of this particular program that you're celebrating. So congratulations to each and every one of your alumni, as well as the team that has put this show together. Thank you very much, and congratulations to everyone. So as I was preparing for this presentation, and I was talking to a number of folks who connected with me, and then we were talking, how do we start this, and what is it that's going to be of interest to you? The first thing that I said was, hey, most of the data is available in public domain. You don't want me to be talking about the same numbers, different slices of that's already available. So what would be of interest was the first thing that we started. And we said, let's talk about a couple of things here. Let's talk about digital transformation. Let's talk about IT. Let's talk about analytics. Let's talk about it. Sorry? Okay. You want me to speak louder? Okay. So we kind of started to think about how do we bring all this together, and what we are seeing today and calling today as the convergence that's happening. The convergence of digital, IT, analytics, AI, coupled and leveraging machine learning and deep learning to really solve business problems. So what I've done today, I'm sorry I'm taking a long time to introduce this subject. I have only about 4 or 5 slides. Okay, I'll keep it short. But what I will share is a couple of case studies, I think, to make it real. I think that's the intent. Again, feel free to stop me in case you have questions. But let's get going on this. I think I know when I turn around, it probably doesn't work. Okay, so I'm going to take you into the past a little bit, and then just stay with me for a few slides, and then we'll get going in a couple of minutes here. Okay, so I think Mr. Kamal Bali talked about disruption, and we call it as a revolution from our perspective. We all heard about the changing businesses and industries due to this revolution, right? Today, we stand at the brink of the technology revolution that we call. It's fundamentally changing the way we live, work, and relate to each other. Its scale, scope, and complexity in this transformation will be unlike anything that you've seen forever. Okay. Like some of the words are not visible. I don't know what's the challenge here, but I'll leave it at it. Stephen Hawking actually calls it the biggest event in the history of a civilization. So, if we look at it, it is characterized by a fusion of technologies that is blurring the lines between physical, digital, and biological spheres. The most important aspect there, biological spheres, which is we as humans, something that we always miss. But that's the journey that we've traversed through. We started with, to be honest, mechanizing production in the early 1700s, 1760s, moving on to creating mass production. Again, think about machines trying to help us as human beings to move forward, okay, ability to do more. Then we talked about the third industrial revolution, which is about automation. And today we are talking about the fourth, which is leveraging the third revolution of digital and automation to something which we probably will look at going forward. So, in this journey, why AA now, right? The effort to develop and hone, I'm going to build this slide up a little bit. Sorry, let's give one step back. If you really look at it, the effort is to develop and hone AI skills. It is not new for us. We've seen that in the revolution from 1700s to date. People around the world have been striving for generations to augment human capabilities, starting with calculator to machines that are capable of mimicking human voice. Not today, 80 years ago, we started on this journey. So why AI today? That's the big question that we have. The progress has been almost linear, to be honest, over the last 200 years, 200 plus years. Some setbacks along the way, we learned as we progressed. But however, there are 3 things that's dramatically changing the way we are looking at data and the innovation that's coming into play. It starts with the foundation of big data. Okay? It is fundamental, to be honest, in today's context. If you take big data, the most sought after in terms of the foundation, what is it that we are doing today? 2.5 exabytes of data produced in every single day today. That's the foundation for us. Moving forward, if you look at it, the second pillar is really about the compute and the storage power. More than that, the ability to make that available, any device, anywhere in the world, is what is changing the whole landscape. And of course, the third one being the smarter algorithms that have been written or being written on a daily basis. So if you look at it, these are the 3 foundational building blocks that we have that AI is based on going forward. Okay? So what does it mean to your business? Again, I don't want to go into the numbers here. You have all these numbers in public domain. But really look at it. It's in the next 3 years, we are estimating about 1.2 trillion of revenue And again, this is the whole ecosystem, not just the AI itself, the ecosystem that is needed to support this whole transformation revolution that we're talking about. Now, how does this happen? Okay. All of you, I'm sure, are budding entrepreneurs, want to look at startups, do something different. I think the stage has been set. We went through this data to cloud, to storage, to compute power, to algorithms, but I think now what we need is the ability to transform using some of this that we already have. Now, how do we do that? Again, this is the way we conceive. I'm sure it is different for different companies, or the way you would want to take it forward. It starts with reasoning, understanding the data, the ability to see how data can augment your business in unimaginable ways, multiple different ways. You're probably seeing one way or the other, but there are many different ways to get this done. Second is our ability to interpret business and customer data in real time or near real time. And lastly, it's about removing the technology barriers. And how do we do that? Again, involves a lot of employees, human interaction, and so on. So the power of AI, in my opinion, from a business standpoint, is the ability to reason, understand, and interact with business using data, and ability to automate, digitize the processes, thereby creating a springboard for human ingenuity. So, where does this lead to? In my opinion, it's about digital transformation and AI, and they coexist in many ways. And here's a point of view in terms of the way we look at it, okay? And it always starts with the customer, okay? It always starts with engaging with the customer, ability to deliver personalized, rich, and connected experiences. That's the key. Number two, it's about the employees, enabling employees. I think Professor as well as Mr. Kamal Bali talked about it, collaboration, right? Here is what is the most important aspect that we need to conquer. Efficiently collaborating to anticipate future customer needs, extremely important. Number three is about operations, an ability to optimize operations, which means you're trying to increase the flow of information across the entire business process and operational work that is there with the stakeholder or the customer. And lastly, it's about transformation of the products or services or solutions, whichever way you want to look at it. If you can expand the reach of your business using digital channels, anticipate customer needs, and develop and improve products and services. I've just done a double click in terms of some of the areas we think are very key, or we are seeing in the marketplace, but this is just a sample. But the key still remains the 4 pillars, and today that is very key towards building a value to our customers and businesses. And AI is the core, and when I say AI, it's digital plus AI, and that's the way we look at it. Shifting gears, this is what I said. My slides are over. Again, it's an eye chart. Please don't have to go through it. The 3 cases I'm going to present, it'll be a video. And let's talk about the first case study. It is Rolls-Royce. What did Microsoft do working with Rolls-Royce? First 2 are pretty much in the industrial segment around what is happening in that. Let's talk Rolls-Royce. We want to ensure that through machine learning, how can we enhance the life cycle of aircraft engines? And number 2, how do we predict with certain level of accuracy the repair and maintenance is getting done the right place, right time, whenever an aircraft turns into a shop. So how did we do that? I'm going to roll the video here.
As an airline pilot, I know that to fly with the best, you need to work with the best. With over 13,000 engines in operation around the globe, Rolls-Royce provides the services to maintain them at peak performance. Today, each engine has thousands of sensors that can produce terabytes of data on long-haul flights. Making sense of all that data is critical in transporting my passengers safely and efficiently. Rolls-Royce uses Azure IoT Suite to analyze data remotely and deliver real-time, actionable insights to me and to the airlines about engine performance and operational efficiencies. Advanced analytics help us optimize fuel economy, anticipate maintenance needs, and avoid costly downtime and delays. A single unscheduled disruption and its knock-on effect to a fleet and the passengers can cost an airline up to $1 million a day. With early notice, our team can proactively have parts at the right place and time, reducing inventory costs and maximizing availability. Up to 1/3 of a plane's weight is fuel. As a pilot, I decide how much fuel my plane carries. Insights into engine efficiency, weather conditions, flight path, and scheduled landings impact my decision. Cortana Intelligence helps me choose the optimal fuel level to maximize efficiency. With 40% of our operating budget devoted to fuel, even a small percentage reduction can save us tens of millions of dollars each year. Microsoft and Rolls-Royce, reaching new heights in customer value.
All right, so pretty good impact. We probably achieved about 1% fuel efficiency across the entire product family of engines that is there today. We help fly better and fuel efficient routes, again working with the GPS guys there. Then the key was for us to build an algorithm that we actually deployed, again using machine learning and to drive the right level of insights and so on. So I won't go in details, but there are a couple of more that I'm going to talk about. Second was also in the industrial sector, but I won't touch that, but I'll talk about something that is closer to us. How about a brewery example and how Microsoft has actually changed the way they do business today. So I'll probably do the brewery example.
I'm Chad Mack from Microsoft, and this is Work Reworked, the show that uncovers the often unexpected ways technology is changing how people work. Today, we're heading to Bend, Oregon, home of craft beer innovator Deschutes. I'm Chad Mack from Microsoft, and this is Work Reworked, the show that uncovers the often unexpected ways technology is changing how people work. Today, we're heading to Bend, Oregon, home of craft beer innovator Deschutes Brewery, or as I like to call it, Willy Wonka for grown-ups. Deschutes began in 1988 as a small brew pub and has since expanded to a nationwide business. But that original spot is still serving up good food along with exclusive brews. Hero shot? Here we go, man. All right, cheers. Hey, can we get a toast? These folks are shaking up the industry by using artificial intelligence to maximize output while maintaining consistent quality. Brewmaster Brian Favor oversees this whole process. He's also the one that brewed up the idea of mixing cloud computing with the art of beer making.
You have a really interesting background. I mean, you're the mastermind, if I can call you that, who took it from traditional brewing down to the new ways of working with artificial intelligence and just thinking about technology in your industry.
When we talk about our core values, we really always like to talk about quality and doing things better the next time. So we're looking at the key performance indicators of our fermentation. We're looking at hours for certain phases, diacetyl levels, how much alcohol, how much sugar is left to be fermented. We're trying to be as consistent as we can to ensure that level of quality that we know our fans love.
There's no doubt the move to machine learning and predictive analytics has led to better output, but has it affected how Deschutes employees work? Assistant Brewmaster Sean Garvin and QA Specialist Brie Francisco are a part of the team turning data points into tasty beer.
How has your job changed with the additional technology in the cloud that's kind of come to Deschutes and helped you, kind of do your work?
When I first started, things were basically just recorded, written down. We had these binders, you would write down what fermenter it came from, where it went, and how many barrels, and the data just wasn't really being used.
So now we can have one display that's pulling from this database and see what's happening.
So do you like your jobs more now that you have these additional tools?
I don't like to sit and number crunch, so I like it.
No, I do too.
It just saves us so much time, so now we can work on other things and just do our job a lot better and more efficient.
I think there can be a misconception as automation increases, creativity and artistry decreases. It's not that we're trying to remove the human element. We always need the human element. We're the ones creating, say, a new brand, new recipe. The artistry and the technology, in my mind, they work hand in hand to create better beer.
It's a pretty cool recipe. AI efficiency plus human artistry equals damn tasty beer.
Instead of just having a gut feel of what's going on, you really can start to see these outer elements of, hey, maybe if we play with this a bit, I wonder if we can extract more flavor this way. Using these models like this, we can be proactive and then.
All right, so that's a quick peek into what we've done at the brewery. So I thought something was interesting, but let me kind of close this with one final slide, maybe something you may have seen. It's one of the important days for you guys today, so we are celebrating something as well. Can you recognize the picture? Sorry? Okay, you probably saw it yesterday. So. All right, so do you know that that's something about this individual, okay? Something that we've created over the last few years. And she is turning 1 today, Microsoft's AI-powered chatbot. Again, I won't go into the details of what it does, how did we get it, all of that. There's a long history to it. But definitely something that, in case you have some time, go look at it. We call it the Roo. Roo in Urdu means soul. Again, we've deployed it. It's probably an AI which has 40 million conversations over the last 1 year. So pretty interesting. I'm sure many of the other companies are doing similar stuff. Financial sector is no different. You have Erica, which Bank of America has deployed. Again, we're training and making it not just text enabled but also voice enabled. So it can provide the real-time guidance and assistance as well, but this is something that you want to take a look at it. Anyway, having said that, I think that gets to the completion. I know we're running out of time. I had another video, but I won't play it in the interest of time and respect the other speakers coming in next. So any questions, I'll be around. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Sairam. So there was interesting talk with examples of analytics applications from airlines to aircraft engines to brewery and finally the chatbot, right? So you see that the application, it's in all sorts of domains, and one of the reasons why it is quite popular is because of all the personal assistants which have been developed by many different companies through AI, right? So if you look at Alexa, and if you call Alexa, she lights up irrespective of what day, night, whether it is weekend, weekday, or whatever it is, right? As against if, like somebody else said, when you call Alexa, Alexa never says that, sorry, honey, I have a headache today, right? So that's the difference, So with AI, you don't have any of those problems. So without wasting much time, I would like to call the next speaker, Prakash Palaniswamy. Prakash is leading Thorogood India management team, which is responsible for Thorogood Bangalore strategy and operations. He is working with them for the past 11 years. He's also IMB alumni. He did his PGP in enterprise management, graduated in 2016. With that brief introduction, now I request Palaniswamy to come, Prakash Palaniswamy to come.
I have a very bad cold, so I might take micro breaks, so excuse me. First of all, thank you, Professor, for introducing me. It puts a lot of pressure on me when professors on the other side, and you have to talk in front of your professors. So I will try my best. As Professor said, I'm an alumnus of this particular program, and it's a proud moment for me. It's a privilege for me to be on the other side. We have tried conducting events when I was a student here, nothing to this scale, and I've seen that the sort of, the bar is being set high every year. So that's great to see, and definitely pressure on the sort of the class which will pass out next year. Yeah. To move on, so my objective is to talk about the impact of disruptive technologies. And I think this word disruptive, you're going to hear it throughout the day. If you're going to be here throughout the day, you're going to talk about disruptive technologies in every session. I'm going to talk about the impact of those technologies on IT services industry, because I come from that industry. I'm sure there are quite a few of you who are coming from that industry. And the sort of opportunities that this particular disruption or these disruptions by multiple technologies open up for people like you and me. So that's going to be the theme of my presentation. Moving on, one of the things that we have started using very frequently is VUCA. So how many of you have heard about VUCA? Okay, quite a few. I will just quickly say VUCA stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. And you can apply this to any field that you are seeing currently. And to set the context, before I go to the crux, I will say, why are we saying that we are in a VUCA world? First one, the customer preferences. The market leaders believe that they had much better ability to predict what customer needs are, probably a few years back, but not now. You don't know what your customer needs tomorrow. And that provides a lot of challenges to businesses across the globe. And this is not a India-specific or a West-specific nature, but then this is across the globe. Geopolitical uncertainty, we have a sort of a chief guest coming in the afternoon who probably knows more politics than me. But then in general, geopolitical uncertainty, and I don't want to get controversial, talk about India, but then if you think about Britain leaving the EU, a lot of my UK colleagues never thought it was even an idea worth talking about, but it has happened, right? And once it happened, there's no time to think about why it happened. It's more about, okay, what do you do after it happened? We, as a company, we are trying to open an office in Dublin. But if I think about an insurance company or a bank in terms of regulations, I think they're going to go through a lot of changes when that thing happens, which was probably unimaginable 30 days or 15 days earlier to this. And I don't want to talk about US presidency elections. I think even the previous day people were celebrating that someone else has won. So I think things are changing so rapidly in terms of geopolitical environment, and that has huge impact on every business that we deal with, be it hospitals, be it insurance, be it banks, be it CPG companies. And the third one, which is more relevant to the topic, is the technology evolution. Sairam spoke about some very interesting cases, and I'm sure there are thousands of cases. And if you ask AWS, they will talk about so many different cases, and similarly with Google, with Uber. So there are so many things happening, and it is so difficult to keep pace with technology. And that's one of the major challenges that services companies like us face. Now, this is one of my very, very favorite quotes. It's by Mr. Harish Manwani, non-executive chairman of HUL. So he says, long term is very important. Short term is even more important. At the same time, it is the death of medium term. Now, it took a while for me to understand this, but I will try to summarize my understanding. Long term, so we all know we are in muddy waters. Is there anyone who can say, I'm working in a field wherein I know what's going to happen in the future? I think it's going to be very difficult, okay? And if you are very lucky. But it's going to be very, very different. So when you're entering muddy waters, it means that you need to have a direction. Without direction, you're going to be completely lost. And the second line, short term, is even more important. Why is it even more important? You need to exist as a company if you have a long-term view. On tomorrow, you need to know what you're going to do tomorrow and whether you're able to sustain as a company. So that becomes important. And why is it the death of medium term? Now, medium term is very, he doesn't use any specific years because it depends on the industry that you're talking about. But then in the medium term, do you know, or does a CPG company know what's going to happen in 3 years from now? Did anyone predict Patanjali is going to come down so heavily at them? It's not going to happen. So I think that is where medium term is going to be a problem. So what does that mean? It means IT service providers or any service providers to these corporations, what they need to do is to focus and help these organizations in the short term. So what do you need? There is a need for agility. Now, don't mistake me, there is this buzzword of agile going on in IT. No, this has nothing to do with that agile that we talk about in the IT markets, but it has to do with the agility or in the quick way, you call it reflexes, right, in cricket. So it's how do you sort of, immediately respond. And you need to help them keep an eye on the future. And that's what you can do, and that's what is expected. Now, being a management student, I have to go into a 2x2 matrix. If not, the presentation is not complete. Professor Reggie is not here, but strategy was one of my favorite subjects. I'm sure he would be one of your favorite professors too. Now, for those who don't understand it, I will quickly go through what this means. Michael Porter, very respected figure in the strategy field, he talks about two types of, he says for a company to be profitable, sustainable in the long run, that company needs to have a competitive advantage. And that competitive advantage could be through either cost or differentiation. And within that, he says, a company could focus on a broad range of issues or a specific range of issues. Now, I will quickly talk about IT services industry. Just before I talk about it, how many of you are from IT services here? Yeah, so quite a few. That's probably 30-40% of you, which is great. Now, when I was in the campus, not this IMB campus, but my undergraduate campus, early part of the century, Infosys, around 2001 or 2, Infosys made 100 offers in my campus. And it was a big news. It was reported in the first page of the local newspapers in Chennai. And it was a big news within the campus saying, oh God, Infosys has made 100 offers. And now that sounds funny because it became 500 in a couple of years and then thousands became normal. So it has been a phenomenal opportunity provider to us. I grew up in my university admiring some of these IT companies. I still admire them. So they went for scale, right? And then their point was, you can do this service in the US or in the UK or in the Europe with high quality or high cost associated with it, or give it to us, we will do it cheaper, right? So that was the sort of, argument put forward, and that's how the IT services industry sort of grew. And it continues to grow. The pace might have decreased, but it continues to grow. So which means that they place themselves very cleverly and for a reason in cost leadership, and our English skills really helped sort of pick up this particular industry. And what this industry has done to India is like simply amazing. We can't ignore the contributions of this particular industry to our society. Now, what is the opportunity here? We spoke about VUCA world. We saw where Indian IT services industry fall, but is there any other opportunity here? I do believe, based on my experience so far, it might not be as big as some of them in the group, but then based on my experience, I do believe that there is a huge opportunity to slightly change it, and more than the opportunity, there's going to be some interesting interesting things that's going to happen in this market. Now, what is the need of the hour? We saw it's a VUCA world, so you want people you want people to understand business goals, and in addition to that, you need to understand technical possibilities. So Microsoft, for example, releases a product every day, and you need to be on top of it if you need to be able to service these clients. And in addition to that, IT services role is no more an order-taking role. It has become more like a partner. So it's not just about understanding business goals nor going into the technical possibilities, but it's also about understanding the opportunities and helping your customers with what is that they can do better, right? And that sort of summarizes it. And one of the things that, say, for example, Professor Dinesh always believes in is managers can't be just doing management things. They need to understand the tools and techniques that involves in running a business. And that's where I think there's going to be a shift for management graduates, wherein they cannot just hide away from technology or the developments in technology. Now, so how do you do it? So where is the opportunity for entrepreneurs? I think there is a huge opportunity here, considering most of our IT services are on the top right, which is cost leadership. I think you can definitely build something which is more adaptive. I'm not saying they're not adaptive, but then what I'm saying is you can build something which is more adaptive than what you have in the market now. Firstly, think of quality, right? Now, if you think about demand, people are not asking you for 200 people, 300 people teams to sit and do something, a process A, B, C, right? So what's happening is market is changing so quickly. So the demand for very effective problem-solving teams is increasing in an exponential way, and the supply is limited. So obviously, when there is demand and supply, there is an opportunity for people like you and me to get into that market. Most importantly, with respect to if you want to start a company, I think you need to really find people who believe in what you're going to do and who are aligned with what you do. It's not like 10 years back wherein you just go to a campus, you say, I'm from an IT company and everyone applies. I think the students in the market, in the top universities now are very, very clever. They exactly know what you want. So for example, in Thorogood, we visit 20 to 25 universities to recruit 50 or 60 people. And the reason is we really talk to them. We are open to saying, okay, what we are interested in. And there are people who say, oh, that's a great idea, but then I'm not interested in this. So you will find those people. And similarly, in the lateral market as well, you will see that there are people who are very specific on what they want to do. So investing in recruitment, getting the right people becomes very critical. Now, so compartmentalization has been a norm in IT. So there is front-end, back-end testing, performance testing, solution delivery. You can pretty much call anything and there is a team for it. And that is decreasing drastically. And you can't have it because when you have that sort of setup, then you start a project, deliver something after 6 months or 1 year, it is not going to be useful to the company because there is no medium term. You don't know. Your customers do not know what they need in 1 year, right? So you need better teams, and if you need to reduce the team size, you need all-rounders. You can't create silos anymore in the IT services companies. Centralized culture, when you are recruiting very good people, then try to have a flat hierarchy so that ideas and thoughts can bubble up. The best thoughts in the recent times in the IT services industry has come from the campuses, not from people with 20, 30 years of experience. So it's not about just recruiting the best people, but then produce or create an environment where they can be very creative, very helpful. Now, don't worry about attrition. The reason is when you recruit good people, they will leave you at some point of time. But what you don't want is for everyone to leave, nor everyone to stay back, right? So I think that's very critical. So for example, in Thorogood, what we do is we recruit a mix of postgraduates and undergraduates from specific courses, specific universities based on the data we have. And then we are able to have a healthy level of retention. And that's very important. So you might get if you try to get the best people from the best universities, then just be aware that they will leave you for something else. Now, when you do it, this is my last slide. So when you do it, you are basically in, you can build a niche services organization. It need not be cost-based. And more importantly, when you build such an organization, you would be able to charge it 3x, 4x, 5x. Because there is so much demand, no one has really fixed a price for it, right? And again, it's demand and supply. So you can take the pricing power. You can, in fact, doesn't mean that you have to cost it at the same rate. You can cost it much higher. And more importantly, what you are building is an adaptive company, which means that we are talking about big data and artificial intelligence this year. Next year, I don't know, probably it will be blockchain. We can't even determine what is going to be there. So when you're building something, you can't exist the same thing to exist for so long. And if you build an adaptive organization, then you have something which will adapt and change on. Yeah. And so my thought is that you should be able to build something around focus differentiation in these fields, and which can adapt and then survive longer run. So you can provide, you can build a very good profitable company for yourself and fulfilling careers for everyone who's working with you. Yeah, that's it. So I will be around to take questions. I had to rush a bit because people are showing me time. And thank you so much. It has been a privilege. So